I'm Jane Sims of the London Free Press. At the London courthouse today, Stefan Gautreau, 51-year-old Chatham man, was sentenced to 12 years total in prison for manslaughter in the death of Robert St. Denis, a Middlesex Centre man who was found beaten to death in his house in June 2015. This was a case of a botched home invasion. Mr. Gautreau went to the house and kicked in the back door thinking that there was no one home, only to be confronted by the homeowner, Mr. St. Denis, who was armed with a machete, and a fight ensued. What we found out today was some of the answers to the mystery surrounding this case. Mr. St. Denis made most of his money, and by all accounts, given his property and where he lived, a lot of money, through the drug trade. He sold hash oil and was well known in the London area for this. Superior Court Justice Bruce Thomas heard that Mr. Gautreau had been told that this should be easy, that St. Denis shouldn't be home, he'd probably find a lot of cash, he'd find a lot of drugs, and this would be an easy score. This was just 41 days after Gautreau had left prison on robbery charges. He's been in prison or in jail, incarcerated most of his adult life.
Even if your intelligence tells you that he's not home and that nobody else is home, it's not necessarily correct. And Mr. Gautreau was surprised by the deceased, unfortunately. The deceased was armed with a machete, and we know that tragic things follow. It's a terrible lesson, and it's a terrible set of circumstances. But one thing that Mr. Gautreau has always done is taken responsibility for what he says he's responsible for, and not taken responsibility for what he says he is not responsible for. In this case, he's not guilty of murdering Mr. St. Denis. It was never his intention to cause his death. But when two armed men who are in a dangerous business have a confrontation, things could very well end tragically, and that's what happened here.
I'm really happy this is all over. It's been a long, hard 3 years, and we're finally getting the closure we deserve. My dad was a very loving man who would do anything for anyone, and there's not a day that goes by that we wish he was here with us, and we love and miss him very much.
Tell us about Dad. What do you miss the most?
I miss the most just him being around. He was so fun, always singing, laughing, always had something for us to do.
Can I ask this? It occurred to me that he didn't say sorry. Were you disappointed by what he said?
I was hoping when he did get a chance to speak, he would maybe not say sorry, but just say something towards us would have been nice.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Kind of upset. He kind of was all about himself up there, I felt, just wanting to know what his sentence was going to be and what would happen with him in his future.
Gautreau said nothing, really, in court, but left that direction to his lawyer. And with time served, he got a massive reduction to his sentence. He's only serving 6 2/3 years. We asked Mr. Baines, Mr. Devin Baines, the defense lawyer, beyond the usual lockdowns, why the reduction was so hefty, and he basically said there were circumstances while he was in jail. The family also spoke to us. We'll have video of that up on our website. And for the London Free Press, I'm Jane Sims.